well?
Well, I work as a TV cameraman. I usually do sporting events, and I'm lucky enough to be able to travel around the country, and I shoot for Monday Night Football and a few of other places. I work for all the other networks, and that's what I do. I just wander the country and shoot sporting events.
Sounds fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. How long have you been doing this for?
I quit my last job at a small cable TV company in '87, so I've been freelance for almost 20 years now.
All right. What kind of background education do you need to do this job?
Well, it really depends. I did happen to go to college for 4 years. I went to the University of Michigan, and I graduated with a degree in speech communication. And I was able to use that, and it is a really good thing to do, but there are certainly a lot of other ways that you could get into what I do. A college degree is nice to have, but it's not absolutely the most important thing to have. Going to a trade school or going to a communication school or a broadcast school is another good way you could do that sort of thing. So, but my background happens to be that I did go to college, but not necessarily the only way you can do it.
You answered one of this, but
Go ahead.
what college did you attend, and what was your major field of study?
I went to the University of Michigan, as I said. I started school in 1976, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I went to school. I had a few ideas. You know, maybe I'd be a lawyer, maybe I'd be a doctor, something like that. And I kind of fell into doing the communications idea. I didn't do real well my first year or so in college. I was having some trouble with some of the math and some of the English courses. I took a Shakespeare course, which was quite a problem. And I was able to take one communication class. It was a speech, it was an introduction class, and I kind of liked it. And then I took a TV class, and I really liked that. So I decided that after a little while I would actually continue on and try to do that particular job. I used to run cameras in the studios. We had cameras from the 1940s, but you know, that's what I learned on. It was a lot of fun.
What made you decide after all this to become a cameraman?
Well, I had done a fair amount of it in school with whatever facilities that we actually had. And then I went to work at a radio station at the university for a little while, and then one day a friend of mine who I had gone to school with called me and said he was working as a director at a cable company in Taylor, and he needed somebody to run a camera for a baseball game, a high school baseball game, and he asked me if I was interested. So I said, yeah, sure, why not? Let's give it a try. And that was really my first professional camera job.
Is there any famous people you have met in your career?
Well, I have met a lot of announcers. I work with John Madden every week. You've probably heard of him before. I used to work with Pat Summerall, and I've seen all sorts of, you know, the announcers. Every now and again I'll see some of the players. We did a couple of New Year's Eve shows in Las Vegas, so I got to meet Paris Hilton for a second.
That must have been fun.
That was kind of cool. You know, she was very popular still back then. I don't know, is she still popular?
I think so.
Okay, I can't tell. So, yeah, I guess I've met a few, and I've met a lot of athletes, but generally I kind of stay away from most of that end of it.
Do you have a boss, or do you go out and find your own events?
No, I'm work freelance, so it's being independent.
So you go out and go get your own jobs?
Yeah, I make the phone calls, or people call me and ask me, you know, can you work such and such a date, or can you work a season from August until whenever, September, November, December, January, whatever it might be, whatever the season is, and I'll tell them what games I'm available or if I can do every game, and that's kind of how I get my work. So my phone is really the most essential tool, and I don't have a boss except when I show up on the site, at which point there's a lot of different bosses.
When you show up on the site, do you have any benefits?
As far as money benefits, or?
No, I mean like like doctors and stuff? If you get hurt or something?
If you're hurt on the site, absolutely. But the one drawback to the kind of work that I do, being freelance, being independent, I don't have one particular person that pays my salary. So I have to pay for my own insurance. But when you're on the job, if something should happen to you, they absolutely take care of you.
Okay. Yeah, you already answered how and who books your events.
Right. Well, I get there's different ways of getting booked on events besides people calling. From a national point of view, you also have local people. There's certain people, because you have 4 teams here: the Red Wings, the Pistons, the Tigers, and the Lions to some extent. And people will call you. And there's all sorts of college. So there's 2 or 3 different people in town that will call and see if you happen to be available.
So I know you guys have a tape here to
Right,
show
I
us
brought
from
a
a
little
Pistons
tape
game.
that gives you a little bit of an example of some of the things I've done. So, yeah, let's see what they can do.
All right. Let's show them the tape.
Okay. Well, here's a little bit hard for the folks here in the audience. If you turn around for just a moment, you can see a little bit. What you're seeing up in the right-hand corner is the actual game coverage of what's going on. That's the direct. There's several people that are in the control room. There's a director, producer, tape people, and there's camera people then that are put in different places around the court. So what you're seeing in the right-hand side is the camera, the shot of the game that's actually on the air, and what you're seeing in the left-hand box down low is what I'm doing all day long. My camera, as you can kind of tell, is low and on an angle on the floor, and I'm just following isolations of different people. Like in this case, Chauncey Billups just made a play, so you follow him. You just kind of follow the ball very tight, as opposed to what you see on the right-hand side, which is all the action that's going on. And occasionally you'll see the shot on the left match the shot on the right, and that's the time that you find out that I'm actually on the air. When you get when your camera is on the air, the director will tell you in your headphones, let's go to camera 2, let's go to camera 3, whatever one you are, and that means that you're live and being on the air at that time. And you also get a nice red light in your viewfinder on top of the camera to let you know what's going on. So that's kind of that's pretty much what that tape is all about, just to give you an idea of what it is that I do as opposed to what's going on in the entire picture.
Okay. Is there any questions in the audience that I want to ask Mark?
I would like to know, are you going to film the Super Bowl this year? So are you going to repeat?
Are you filming the Super Bowl this year?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'll be starting there this coming Wednesday. Or which would be February the 1st, 2006, depending on when this show is aired. And yeah, it's real fortunate, first of all, that I get to work the Super Bowl, that somebody thought enough of my talents that I can do something like that. And second of all, that it's home. While most of the people, I imagine, that are working on this game probably are not real happy to be in Detroit, only because it's cold. They'd much rather be in Florida or Southern California or someplace like that. I'm real happy to be home, and it's just great to be able to show off the city a little bit and see what's going on. Are you excited about the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Is there a certain team you want to win?
Oh, I guess I'd like Pittsburgh to win because of Jerome Bettis, but because he's from Detroit. Other than that, not really.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm in the WOAK class, so I have experience with cameras and stuff like that. Do you need any help at the Super Bowl that you'd like to take me with you to help you?
You have to repeat the question, I
Yeah.
think. Somebody wants a free ticket to the Super Bowl. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
No, not free. I'll be doing labor, helping you out, maybe pulling the cables.
Well, as much as I would love to have you and the other 5,000 people that have asked me to do that, I don't think that'll be happening this time around. But you never know. Maybe if something comes up, you're the first 5,001st person I'll get, right after my dad and all the relatives.
And your next door neighbor.
And the next door neighbors.
Jenny, you have a question?
What are your goals for the future?
What are your goals for the future?
I guess I have to think that through. I now have more of a family at home. We have a younger son, so it's a little bit harder to get up and get on an airplane and leave these days. But as far as my future plans, I guess I'll still do this at least for a while longer. I really like it. I have to admit, out of all the things I've done with my life, I have a lot of fun doing my job. And I hope that most people who work for whatever they do for a living have fun. But I tell you, this is just a great way of life. I get to see a lot of sporting events. I see a lot of sports. I like sports. I get to travel the country. I get to travel the world. I get to go to Italy right the day after the Super Bowl for the Olympics.
Oh, that must be
And I'll be
good.
there for about 3 weeks. So as hard as it is to leave home and leave the family, I absolutely love my job. There's something I learned a long time ago about what we do. And it kind of relates to the question about what my goals are, but there were 3 rules that we had in TV. The first one was be on time, the second one was play well with others, and the third one was do your job well. And quite honestly, doing your job well is important, but not nearly as important as just, being on time, being a responsible person for the job. And I guess that's part of what I want to do, is just continue to have people, the networks around the country, call me, have that kind of faith in me to do the job. And it's, I hopefully believe, because I've always been very responsible about what goes on and just try to think about the other person.
You said you travel from
Yes.
place to place. Do you have to pay for that, or do other people pay for that?
That's the beauty of it too. You go to the airport and you get on your computer and they tell you where you're going to go, or they'll call you and where your tickets are, and you just go to the airport, grab your tickets, and get on the plane and go.
Nick, do you have a question?
Yeah. I want to know if, like, when, if there's going to be a new program or something, are you one of the first people that they'll pick to film it?
Go ahead, you should ask the question.
What was that?
If there's a new show,
Yeah.
if there's something new, yeah.
Yeah, is there something new?
I've been real fortunate to be able to do that on a couple of occasions. When Fox got football about 12 years ago, after CBS had it for so long, I got a call to start in with a brand new show. With any luck, I can do the new Sunday night show on for NBC, because this is the last ABC game on TV, football game, for many years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they're not. So yeah, in answer to your question, I have been asked, and it's been pretty cool.
Are you going to be filming the new Monday Night Football on ESPN?
I won't be on that one.
Oh,
No,
all right.
they won't move, because the people that are doing the Sunday night show on ESPN will go do the Monday night. But I might
okay.
do the new NBC
That makes
show.
sense.
Yeah.
Kelly, do you have a question? Jay, you got a question? Gary, you got a question?
Besides, like, Detroit, of course, like, which teams do you like?
You know what? I'm still a hometown guy. I really do like the Detroit teams. So, and it's really funny. I actually got to see a Lions game last season when they played in Dallas, and it was really depressing to watch them play because they made a lot of mistakes. And Mr. Rocco brought in a camera. Do you want to give you? I can give you guys a little bit of an idea of how this thing works here.
Okay.
Because I think I can actually get up.
Yeah.
So this is a camera. But this is the kind of thing that we get to play with every day. And I'll tell you what, part of it is you guys probably you still like to play with, you play basketball or
Yeah.
video games and that kind of stuff. For me, this is that kind of idea. You can do so much with these. I've gone on news shoots. I've used smaller cameras like this for your handheld. It's just, it's really kind of nice. You can just sort of play with these things, and it's amazing how close you can get to the players when you use a camera like this, or to doing some sort of news shoots. It's just a blast.
Is there any certain buttons here? Is there any certain buttons over here that are different from others?
Well, there's the on-off button, of course. that's different. There's a little bevel here, which makes the picture wider and tighter. That's your zoom control, so that's how you can zoom in, zoom out. And it's just a matter of getting the feel of these. Your focus, is actually right there. A lot of the cameras that are built these days have autofocus. A lot of the small cameras you buy, like at a Best Buy or something, but these you actually still have to focus in the old,
okay.
good old-fashioned way. You just turn the wheel in front. You can determine how much light comes into the camera or how much light goes, how little light comes into the camera by focusing what's called the iris control, which is another just wheel that's right there. And there's all sorts of different things. When we run a camera like this during a game, you're almost always attached to a cable. So the cable is attached to the big production truck. Have you ever seen one of the big production trucks? Those things have all the camera controls in it, and you have people that are actually running these sort of controls for you, so you don't have to think about it nearly as much. And but other than that, but if we're out on our own, like I was at the auto show just a couple weeks ago, and just wandering around shooting a lot of the new cars, and then we do it all by ourselves. We change the iris focus, do the zooms, and other than that, it's a pretty easy piece of equipment. You look through the viewfinder, which is this piece right here. Lens is there. If you have a headphone, it attaches somewhere in the back, and and off you go.
You guys got a question?
I have
Awesome.
one more question.
Yeah. Kosuke, you got a question?
I have one more question.
Oh, go ahead, Gary.
Do you film like the NBA All-Star games or the NFL All-Star games?
I've done some. I've done a couple of NBA All-Star games. I've been, as I said earlier, I've been really lucky. I've gotten to do an awful lot of things. I was at the NBA Finals last year, both in Detroit and in San Antonio. This Super Bowl coming up will be my 5th or 6th Super Bowl. I've done about 6 Olympics already. So,
What was your first Super Bowl that you filmed?
the first one was in New Orleans. Must have been about 10 years or so ago.
Do you remember what teams were playing?
I think Green Bay was there, and I don't remember the other team, but Green Bay won that game. But I got to tell you, the first time after the kickoff, the first play-by-play shot of the day was my shot, and I started to think about how many millions of people were actually watching this thing, and it got a little bit scary. But after the first play, I followed the ball just fine. Everything was okay. Then it turned into another football game.
Okay, do you have any more questions?
But do you guys have any questions about anybody interested in doing something like this?
Jason,
I'm interested.
speak up.
What? I forgot the question. Never mind.
Well, it's okay. Keep it. Any ideas? Or, I mean, is this a career that some of you guys would possibly be interested in doing?
You got Matt.
Yeah. You had a question, the camera guy.
I asked it.
Oh, okay. All right. But yeah, I mean, it really is, my typical week, if I do a football game, let's say, and the game is on Sunday afternoon, generally I'll fly into whatever town that I need to go to on a Friday, spend the night in the hotel, and then the next morning we get up and actually start doing we'll set up the entire day. We have to put all the cameras wherever in the entire field, finish everything, make sure it all works. Then the next day we come back and do the game, and there's a lot of time where I'm just kind of sitting around going, well, boy, I sure hope the game starts soon. But I mean, it's fun. I have a lot of fun, but there's also a fair amount of downtime that you don't have to work too terribly hard, but you think about what's going on, and it's a great time.
Thank you for sharing this experience with us.
Well, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
That's all the time we have. The end.
You're supposed to talk. You have to talk.
Huh?
You have to pretend that we're talking for a second. You have to pretend we're talking for a second.
Oh, okay,
Shows, yeah.
All right,
So we
yeah.
can talk about it. So
Let's go.
There you go.